left in the surplus goes in the town's general surplus. We receive your tax rate for a year, we pay your budget for a year, and then in future years, it's merged into our, because we're part of the way into the budget year. It gets merged together and it's an amendment to our budget later on. And with the auditor, I took the time to call Trent and talk to the person who does this process, says, how's it done? And it was a conference call myself, the auditor, and the guy in charge of the department about how we do it. And it's not like they've done lots of these, because we're using the general dissolution statute for the 5/8 one, and it's not a specific one for fire districts, so they're a little unique. I ascertained there were no bonds, there were capital leases. The fire district owns no real property, which was good. The titling of the trucks was of concern. And then this audit, just so we're clear, is a 2009 audit, which has probably been available since the spring of 2010. And I don't think we've received the 2010 audit yet. I don't think it's available yet.
No, it's not.
It's not yet available.
No,
So
ours
it's not
hasn't been done yet either.
No, that's fine, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
it's not like this one came in and we sort of went looking for it.
John, after all this, what did you figure the difference in monies would be?
With the soft costs and whatever you can save in insurance in some savings, I thought $55,000 to $70,000, somewhere in that range would be the reduction. That's assuming the fire district, the fire company gets every dollar they're currently getting that we can legally give them. For example, the borough can fix the borough's new trucks. These trucks that are titled to the fire district would become the borough's trucks.
Okay.
That would be in the borough budget. We would have to fix our trucks. The fire company, right now, there's $65,000. Some of that $65,000 for repairs is repairing the fire company's trucks. Some of it's repairing the fire district trucks. Those fire district trucks would become the borough's trucks. We would be responsible for getting those repairs and maintaining them. We can statutorily give the fire district $90,000 a year if you were a fire company, $90,000 a year to assist them in the expenses for which they're currently receiving $65,000, plus there's a certain amount of money being used to repair trucks that the fire district doesn't own, but they're getting money to repair them. So the switches that would occur there, and obviously with everything else, there's a certain number of trucks. Can we afford, the town would have to make this decision. Can we afford to keep and maintain all of those trucks? Can we insure them all? Can we repair them all? What is their age? What's their functioning utility? It's an analysis the Borough Council makes every year with every public works truck, garbage trucks. Obviously, I presume they work hand in glove with the fire company for the uniqueness of this, like we work with the police department and other things. But I think there's probably, there's a few duplicative items that I saw. Workers' compensation, we would have an obligation to pay workers' compensation. I think RGF probably rates us on our loss experience. So as long as the volunteer firemen don't have a great deal of loss, we might not have a big change in our loss experience. They're buying, I believe they have a traditional insurance policy, and we're a JIF, so all the towns, so the volunteer firemen will go into the JIF. As volunteers, they receive the statutory maximum. So only if we have losses might we see our JIF number go up the following year. You're sharing that. Most towns in the county are members of JIFs. There's about 4 or 5 JIFs that are around, and this way it's a very effective sharing method. Good JIFs pay dividends, bad JIFs take losses, and they assess those the following year. So there would be some change in our insurance obligation if we did that.
Don, you said right now they get $65,000, but the maximum they can get is 90.
90
from
because
the
they're
Borough.
single.
So that
single company.
$25,000 would come out of the $65,000. So we're down to like 40, 50,000.
If we were able to ascertain they needed the full $65,000 to maintain all of the trucks that the borough would need and could afford. Each truck would have to be evaluated and what it costs annually to have it on the road, whether or not you're able to use it. And
they're making it on $65,000 now.
they're making on 65 now, but they're getting $65,000 additional for maintenance repairs. It appears on the trucks.
They're getting
Separate
extra.
and apart.
In the district's budget.
They're getting a portion.
Right. I think, from what I saw from the fire company's budget, they're getting the whole 65, both. They're getting 65 and 65.
That's not correct.
How much are you getting right now?
They're just getting 165.
For the service agreement.
Okay, for the service agreement, that's all they're getting. Everything else is being picked up by the district.
So the district is paying to repair the fire company's trucks?
That's correct.
And then the $65,000 is actually your rent, so you pay everything we pay for everything and then we rent. I mean, this is how it's,
Oh, I'm just,
so we're renting it
so-
$65,000
so that's-
for the apparatuses, the building and everything else. And this, that I had read was that if something is owned by the company, to put it on a district budget is not appropriate.
well, I understand the point you're making.
So, and that was with the ladder truck. The ladder truck has been put on the year after year since 1999. We've been paying maintenance for a truck that's owned by the company after the voters voted it down twice.
Okay. I'm hearing two different things here, John. First, somebody wanted to have the meeting adjourned and begin at another time, and then that's been taken back. Any suggestions?
I think,
I'm getting the feeling from the people sitting here they'd like a vote tonight.
well, that may be true. Now, the next question is, if council people have questions,
Yeah.
let's switch to council people, and then if, after my questions and the council questions, then if the public has no more questions, we can move to comments, which are a little different than questions, and then we'll give the commissioners a final chance to summarize at the end.
Okay, then we'll go to council questions?
Sure.
I have a question.
Okay, Butch? Butch, you talking to the mic?
Well, for how long, the company originated in the thirties or something? The
Excuse me,
fire
sir?
company originated in the thirties?
1928,
1928. How many years did it operate without a district?
up until 1987, 88.
Was there ever any problems?
They were going in the red, and they requested the council to move and form a district.
The fire
And-
company did?
Fire company did that, yes. And at that time, I believe it was Mayor Adams wanted to put it on a referendum vote on the general election, and it passed on that. I don't know what the vote was. And in the following year, the next year, which was 88, we had a district election with no budget. Because the council tried to put the budget together and DCA kicked it out.
And how much did the borough give to the company? And
The borough paid $33,000 a year, up until 1987,
and how much are we paying now?
65.
Any other?
I mean, to the district, we're paying 400.
Say again?
To the district, how much are we paying though,
To who?
before we became a district,
Yes,
the town was paying,
$33,000 a year to the company.
okay, so now how much are we taxing the taxpayers for the district?
I don't understand the question.
How much is?
How much is your budget?
How much is your budget?
400 and.
So in 1988, the town of Spring Lake Heights was only paying $30,000 to the company.
33,000. That's not the entire budget.
No,
That's not the
that's
entire
not the whole
budget.
budget.
They were supposed to be handling our insurances and stuff like that, which we found out that they weren't paying because they were on some sort of program. And the only reason we found out that they didn't pay the insurance is one of the vehicles, registration came up and they went looking for the insurance, and the town did not pay the insurance on the fire equipment for over a year.
And now, is that the responsibility of the company to bring that to the town, or is that the responsibility of the town? I mean, my understanding is that if this goes forward, that we go to the DCA and we say, the current budget is $400,000, we want to bring that into our own budget, $400,000, and the corresponding tax increase. We don't want to make any changes. Casey, Mr. Chief Williams then comes to us whenever he wants a payment to be
That's
made.
correct.
So then if the insurance lapses, whose responsibility is it?
Well, it's
You as
ours.
a council.
If we don't get the bill to pay? Because we get a bill, we pay it.
You
The
will.
borough already
You
has a
have a
bill.
Oh, but we coming to us.
You are the employer.
Yeah. Any other council person have a question?
I have a question. Well, prior to the district, when you had fundraisers, you used to have the fairs and all that. Can you give me a ballpark figure as to how much the fire company raised in a given year to sustain itself?
I can guess, but I can't give you
Well,
actual.
a guess is okay.
I'd say maybe with all the fundraisers during the year, 25,000. That's with going out, putting coin cards out, letter drives. We worked the corner. We needed $1,000. We went out in the corner and stuck our hat out there, and somebody put 25 cents in or a dollar. That's how we raised our money.
And on a yearly basis, we still get an envelope in the mail and contributions. Is that as good
That
now
goes
as it used to be?
That goes strictly to the fire department.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with the
Company.
fire company. That's it, to the fire
So
company.
Casey, my question is, has that decreased over the years?
We have seen a decrease. If you have something, if you want.
At this point, they have approximately a net of $22,000 in fundraisers. If I may just bring something to the attention of the borough here. A fire district is formed primarily because the volunteers that you have that are providing the fire service to this town have enough responsibility in drills, in training, in responding to fire calls, that they haven't had time to go out and raise funds to maintain their equipment, to maintain their apparatus, especially in light of the increasing state and federal mandates that they have to comply with. A active volunteer in the Spring Lake Heights Fire Company spends anywhere from 15 to 30, 35-hour work weeks during the year out of their own time. And the fire district carries that portion that they used to raise through fundraisers, okay? 25,000 was a lot 20 years ago. Now they're down to 22, okay? And that goes strictly to maintenance of the fire company. But what's happened is they have the same type of mandates as volunteers that your paid employees have in the township. They have to go through bloodborne pathogen training, right to know training, any of the fit testing they have to go through. They have all the training that a paid individual has. And yet, in addition to that, they're giving anywhere from 15 to 30, 35-hour work weeks just to maintain fire service in this town. And in addition to that, everybody knows that they become more than just a fire company in the town. What's happened is anybody that has a problem calls the fire company, whether it be for pumping out their basements, whether it be for a stranded car, whether it be for an animal that's in distress. They call the fire company. And in this town, the fire company responds. And they've picked up, in addition to all of their emergency responses, a substantial amount of community involvement. Now, this is on top of their normal time that they have to train and attend classes and fight fires. So that is all an additional impact upon the volunteers. The volunteer system is a great system. If you had to pay for firefighters, you would be running a tremendous expense, okay? And these guys provide the service, the same service that paid volunteers would provide at no cost. So when we look at what we're asking of our volunteers, it's a substantial amount just for them to provide the fire service, let alone to deal with raising money to repair trucks, raising money to replace equipment. Any of those things is a substantial amount of time that they're already spending. Volunteerism is a very difficult area, and I had an opportunity to present a matter before the Merit Board of Civil Service on a director of fire service. We were trying to get an appointed position for a director of fire service as opposed to a testing position. And the problem that the Civil Service Commission had, and that the fire district was toying with is that you have to have a specific type of individual to deal with the volunteers. They have to be familiar with what volunteerism is. They have to be familiar with the needs of the fire district. They have to be familiar with personnel that they'll be dealing with. There's specific needs that you have. The district provides those needs in its directions through the board. Just to have somebody pay their bills isn't necessarily what they need. They need to maintain the volunteer system. They need somebody who has familiarity, who is not a part-time fire commissioner, but these guys make a life of it. And it's an elected position. More likely than not, a fire commissioner gets elected that position. But that fire commissioner is setting policy for the fire company. And it's the fire company that's risking its property and their lives, the firefighters, for the borough. So it's a simple thing to bring down to dollars and cents, but it's more difficult when you throw in the personal factor of the volunteerism and the fact that you have to be familiar with the fire service. You can see tonight, there are many questions that you have, and those questions can't necessarily be answered in a meeting, number one. Number two, there may not be answers to all the questions. Financially, yes, we can provide answers to all those questions, but exactly whose responsibility it is and what the chain of command is, that's something that has to be dealt with experienced people. And that's the factor that the district allows you to have. Okay, these individuals are going into a home. Yes.
We had a volunteer fire company from 1928 to 1988, correct?
Still do.
Still do.
Still do.
But there was no fire district before 1988.
Correct.
So I would assume in those 60 years we had volunteers who regularly came about.
That's correct.
But in the last 20 years, I mean, we've had a fire district and a fire company. And the one thing I want to state first and foremost up here, there is no one who is questioning the absolute, I know I speak for every single person up here, no one questions the honor of our fire company and its volunteers. No one up here has anything but respect for your time and what you give.
I think what Mr.
You've been to my house twice, so I know.
I think what Mr. Senzik's point is that due to additional obligations by way of training, the time ability to be able to go out and collect monies by way of fundraisers.
Right, I just want to go.
Well, you know, it used to be nice to have a fireman's fair, every town had it, but the liability now involved in that is unbelievable, and
Beating
it's.
on the lawyers again?
Yes, I am beating on the lawyers, but no, the liability is outrageous, because we look, with another committee I'm on, we talked about having a Spring Lake Heights Day, and there's so many problems connected with that you have to get into, and I can understand why they
But
can't.
the question I
Everybody
also,
sign a waiver.
the question I want to get to is, I understand the fire company has meetings once a month. The fire district has meetings twice a month, a regular session and a working session, is that correct?
Yes.
So my question is, if we're having 36 meetings in a given year, I'm a little uneasy with the unfamiliarity with how money's being spent and where it's going.
And how much you have?
Wouldn't we, and how much you have? I have a question about that in the sense, I know, I run a business. I know where every dime is going. I watch it every single month. I'm a managing partner. So I'm sure that the fire district and you gentlemen and the fire chief has an idea where things are going each and every month. I'm sure that it's not operating in a vacuum. So when questions are asked, or I read a newspaper article that, quite frankly, I found astounding and created a great deal of unease for me, it would lead anyone to naturally question, not questioning anyone's honor or whatever, but it would lead me to question, well, we run a $2 million budget for our police department. It runs fantastically. We have an excellent police force. we couldn't handle a $400,000 fire budget? I have to question that. And I'm not questioning the value of the fire district. I'm sure there